go. I do believe we are live. So I'll say indeed and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friend. I thank you for joining me once again for another conscious evolution. Today's stream topic is going to be about permission. Permission to hope, specifically. Specifically. Kind of like thinking about our current state of reality. If you look at the media and you look at our financial systems and you look at climate change and you look at the proliferation of superbugs in our crops, in our, cattle. If you look at the rise in different mental disorders, the drop of testosterone, if you pay attention to the amount of synchronous bullshittery that's happening in the world right now, it can feel like you do not have permission to hope, right? At least that's the way that I feel sometimes. Like, who am I to hope that the world's going to get a better place, right? Like, who am I to hope for that? It would be unreasonable for me to hope if I pay attention to all of these things. So today's stream is about quite literally giving ourselves the permission to hope. Be like, yeah, I know all of these things. I accept that they are potentially true. And despite it, I will give myself permission to hope for a better world. Right? Like taking it. Like permission usually is like someone else giving you the permission to do something. But in that, taking that power onto ourselves. It's nice to have you friends here as always. I see Jazil's name, Shannon, even Connor. Jovan was first. So much love to you, dear friends. Nancy's here too. There is Zano. I was thinking about you yesterday, Zano. I think you weren't here yesterday, right? Might be missing the pot, but I was missing you. Sending you good vibes anyway. How are you, beautiful friends? I'm doing well. I'm doing well, Connor. I am I'm giving myself permission to hope, right? Like this is of course one of those things where it might mean more to me than it means to you in this moment when I just say something like give myself permission to hope. But the way that I am feeling into it right now is very much the fractal of parents, right? Specifically my father. I don't know what it is, but it's using it's a truck. That's why. Like I am giving myself permission to hope that things will get better, right? I can. It's this weird dichotomy of usually when I feel I don't have that permission to hope that it will get better, it was like because I don't have permission, I have to make it better, right? But now that I am giving myself the permission to hope, it's like it's not my problem. And I don't know if that's a good thing because I like having problems sometimes. Certain problems give you a narrow enough way to get to a better state of reality. But it seems that the lack of hope that it will get better didn't really serve me. I'm speaking in circles right now, trying to be as vague as possible to keep it as such. But it really came up to me today, like as projection. Like noticing projection clearly, right? Like usually projection can just feel like pain. Like somebody projects and then you feel bad about yourself because of that projection. Today specifically, when I received the projections, it just came through as, this is a projection. I know what this is. This isn't about me. This is what projecting looks like. And I was like, yeah, yeah. And that gave me some permission to hope, right? That if that's happening, if I, at my age, can realize what's happening, surely Surely there's hope for others to realize as well, you know. So I'm holding on to that hope, giving myself permission to at the very least. Zano Banana Bird, I'm doing tunes. Need the extra kick this morning, so I'm having my first coffee in a month. Wow! Yeah! I'm also caffeinated right now. Weirdly enough, like this shift, it's been making me feel some things, you know? And I don't know if I like these things that I'm feeling, right? Like I'm noticing the caffeine, but again, now I feel like now I don't want it because of my state of being completely sober. And I'm really enjoying the weed, but I also don't know if it's something that I want to be doing, at least not daily, especially not before stream, right? That I was also very clear about yesterday. I was like, no. 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 We smoke after 4 at the earliest, please. Right? Behave yourself. I know it's fun. I know it's a good experience, but I'm trying to attach today's stream topic with something like it feels like it gives me permission to do other things than just hope. Maybe that's one, right? Gives me permission to I don't know. I don't want to say be tired. That's a little bit basic. But it gives me permission to feel into a different state of being that I wasn't capable of accessing for a month prior to it. Right? And I appreciate that space. I do. But I also recognize that it's very distant. It's like a type of numb, technically, right? I don't want to call it indifference because that's the opposite of love. But it does have that level of apathy, you know, to it. And I acknowledge the part of me that seeks that. I do. But I also acknowledge the part of me that I was reintroduced to with the whole sobriety. So it's interesting to notice how we change, slowly but surely learning the lessons. I had to skip yesterday. Missed you guys too. No, it's fine, Zana. I just want you to know that you are missed, dear friend. If I miss some of you other friends when you're not here, do know that I think about you more than you realize. Sending all of you love-ins. Thank you for being here right now. That's what's important. Sending you blessings. Namaste, beautiful souls. Melt, Shan, Jovan, Connor, Nan, and Zano. Blessings to you too. Dear Lisa, it's nice having you as well. Sway, I hope school is going well. Bless. There's Joy Vive as well. Why are you keeping it vague? We want the tea, yo. Yeah, it's silly, right? If you want the tea, basically, what's happening? Uh, I only remembered last night at around 2 a.m., right? Because again, now with this new energy that I'm embracing, the caffeine is making it so that even though I'm drinking caffeine, like the last cup of caffeine around 4, I'm still up at 2 a.m. caffeinated, right? Caffeine does something to my brain. It presses a it doesn't stop pressing that button for sometimes 12 hours, right? So I have a hard time going to sleep properly in the middle of the night. And then I remember as I'm trying to go to bed that I'm driving my sister to school tomorrow morning or the same morning, right? And it's like in 3 hours because I have to be up at 6 because her school starts at 7. It's about a half-hour drive into town. So I'm like, bruh, bruh, I forgot, but this is my responsibility. So I go to sleep, you know, get my flower done, get the poem up, go to sleep, wake up 3 hours later, get into the home, make sure my sister is ready, drive her into town, drop her at school, sleep for 2 more hours, go and pick her up from school. There were some things to wait for, clients that needed to be serviced with my mom's baking good. And then eventually we get to leave after going and buying her some school supplies or some note making supplies or whatever. And we get here around 12:30 ish, right? which means that if we left right then and, like went through into Pretoria, we would technically get there just before I have to do my streams. But it would be like just before, and it would cause me anxiety, keeping my eye on the time, being like, every single time there's a car in front of me, stopping me, I'm going to be tripping out, wanting to overtake them, wanting to overtake the trucks that drive at, 40 miles an hour or whatever. That I could feel. I could feel the fractal of us leaving in that moment as that is what's going to happen. I'm going to be rushing and I'm going to be in a tense state, and then that tense state is going to be what I'm going to show up with yoga for. And after I finish my yoga in that tense state, I was going to be in a new space, surely, but tense with you friends. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. I'm instead gonna rest a little bit more. I thought I was gonna have a call as well at 1, and I was like kind of preparing for that as well because it was something important to me. And I took my time, right? And I was in my room. And then my dad comes up to my room and he goes, something, something, you're going to be driving in the dark and that's dangerous. So you are being irresponsible. And I go, okay, thank you, Dad. And he goes, no, not thank you. He says to me, no, not thank you. And I'm like trying to rest right now, right? Like I only had 5 hours of sleep, so if I can get in half an hour extra, that's going to help me later if I'm going to be driving. And there's outside my door, because I'm being so selfish. That's also one of the things that came up. I'm being so selfish right now because I'm not leaving right now. And I'm like, bruh, I've made up my mind. I'm leaving after my streams. This is how it's gonna be. You're so selfish. And you just showed me how selfish you are. And then, you know where he's going today? He's going to a Bible camp. I don't want to say this, but technically it is so. Misogynistic Bible camp. Because it's only men allowed. No women allowed at all. At all. No women allowed. Right? They call it mighty men. And then they pray together and stuff. Right? And that's what he's going to do this weekend. The whole weekend. And he cannot go and pick my mom up tonight because he's doing that. And he cannot take my sister through to Pretoria because he's doing that. And I'm the one who took my sister this morning, and the one who met my mom's clients, and the one who's now going to go and pick my mom up tonight, and the one who's driving. But I'm the selfish one. And I was like, projection. I'm like, I'm not supposed to feel bad about this. I'm supposed to recognize this as projection. And I did. I feel like I really did this morning. And instead of taking offense to it, I just accepted, right? I gave myself permission to live in a state of hope instead of in a state of, and it feels freeing, it feels better that way, actually. Permission to hope achieved, slowly but surely. I'm trying to take a month off, weed as well, so I guess I'm gonna be going through it. It's not that bad, Connor. I'm obviously talking from my personal perspective, but it was kind of easy for me. I feel like that's a little bit of a flex, but it was really easy for me. It was harder for me not to drink caffeine, not to drink coffee. That was harder for me than the no weed. And I feel like the no weed really did help me, create some context, a little bit of a wider frame of reference as to how I was feeling about it as well, how I want to be doing it. And I'm also no longer combusting, right? No more direct flame to bud action is happening, at least. I've been feeling that way about the smokes. I smoked again yesterday and was like, damn, my productivity. Yeah. Yeah, me too, Joe. I was like, I mean, it could be like a wheat strain thing, right? Like some people, like the wheat aficionados, will probably tell that maybe some I'm echoing their words right now. They'd be like, "No, Joe, we're just smoking the wrong strain. We should be getting like a, high percentage sativa, little bit hybrid. Maybe then we'll get like productivity boosts out of it instead of just getting zoinked. Who knows? Tunes. I'm in the middle of my 30 days of wheat, and and it hasn't been that bad. I was smoking every day. Yeah, me too, Nancy. I'm happy that yours is also not going that bad. I feel like there is definitely like a wave of evolution happening for all of us right now. I see Louisiana blessing our friends with hellos. I haven't been in stream all week, but I got off. Love to you. Louisiana has been a trooper, working extra overtime. Tell Louisiana, we're proud of you for working so hard. And you're like, I'm not gonna type that out, Mel. You just thought it. Think it more. Think more how proud we are of Louisiana for working so hard. I've been smoking every day pretty much since senior year high school, so I think it has been long overdue. Thank you for the blessings, though, my dear peeps. Blessings to you even more, dear Connor. I've been doing Sober October every year since starting this stream journey, and it's good. It is good. Having like 1 month out of the year to not partake of intoxicants, I feel really has served my mind and my interpretation of how it is I feel about my use case, right? Because weirdly enough, last year, this time, when I was, maybe like last year, this time minus a month, I was unironically stressed. Like I had a visceral insecurity bubbling up in my being, worried that if I don't smoke weed on stream, I won't be entertaining. I won't know what to say. I won't be channeling the good energies and being able to give it to you friends, right? And then after showing myself that first month that I was completely okay with it, and last year doing the same, every year after that, right? Like October, the first October, the second October, the third October, the anxiety dropped exponentially every single time. And this time around, it almost feels the opposite. Now my anxiety spikes that I won't be able to be as articulate, read as well as I can if I do smoke weed. And just noticing how that has like shifted in my brain as well. It gives me permission to hope that this version of me just base melt, right? I'm caffeinated right now, but that's all. I'm caffeinated. I drank some coffee. I trust this version of myself to be himself. Does that make sense? I hope so. I'll hope you right back, Duck Dad. Sending you blessings, bro. It's nice seeing your name. We have Kristen here too. Hello to you. Now that I think about it, probably more of a stopping smoking rather than the weed. Yeah, it is cathartic, right? This thing that you do that you can enjoy and feel something out of it. There's a sense of control that we get from that experience as well. I slept like crap last night. Both Duckling and I were feeling a cold coming on. So skippy school. That sounds like wins to me, bro. Weirdly enough, I unironically was super excited about being sick as a child. Duck Dad. Isn't that sad? That I was very excited about being sick as a child because that would mean I could miss a single day or 2 days of schools. And then here's this bullshit. Then we had a school vacation, like a month school vacation. And during that month school vacation, I get water pox. We call them, no, chicken pox, right? We call them waterpokkies in Afrikaans, chicken pox. And I get chicken pox during the freaking school vacation. So I'm staying inside anyway, right? Or I get to stay at home anyway. And I was like so bummed. I was so bummed. I was like, bro, why can't I get chicken pox later? Why can't I get chicken pox earlier? That was literally how my mind was reasoning. It was suffering. I was suffering big time, feeling like my skin is on fire. But I was stoked about being sick every single time I got sick as a child. That just shows the school system clearly isn't that great for our mental health as kids. Nah, you miss me with that cigarettes. Connor, my dude, how are you? Bless. I think Brother Ryan asked something. This is Rosie. Hi, Melt. It's pajama day for school today. Nice. That sounds cool as well, Rosie. I also enjoyed those days when we could dress. We had like uniforms in all of the schools that I went to. So pajama day would be like double great because you don't have to wear your school clothing. I see Jules in chat with us too. Love and to you. Shell is here as well. Blessings, dear friend. Let me get to the top of chat again. You know, probably smoking in general. Even weed is not too good. Yeah, the carcinogens. They do be carcinogenic. Good old cancer inducing. Hopefully, and I do believe they do have some balancing effects. I don't smoke cigs. Good. I'm very happy to hear that, dear friend. Man, I think I missed a bunch. Hot damn. How are you? Sending healing energies your way. Bless. Thank you, Shan. Medicine Mother. I was feeling sickly as well this morning. Hope the shower helps. Bless you, bro. Hope you feel better too, man. Connor, it's the first cold and snowing that makes your body revolt. Yeah, suddenly like an update of T cells. It's like, get ready for it, boys. We're going to be spending time inside of a bunch of other sick people now. Doing well, brother. Been grinding, but I have been finding time for lots of fun shiz to do. Nice. Bless you, bro. That's good. Cigs are terrible. I used to be a chain smoker. I quit, but I still bum one every once in a while. Cigarettes never got me, right? Like I'll take a puff of someone's vape. That I'll do. But I'm not smoking a cigarette, bro. No, I'm thinking, cool, thank you. Like in China, there is like this culture of teachers getting gifted cigarettes from parents, right? So certain teachers, certain parents, every single time they came and picked their kids up, you know, from my class, they would give me cigarettes. And I would then proceed to give those cigarettes to other people. You know, it felt like a double whammy. It's like not only do I believe it's bad for me and I cannot smoke these things, but I'm now bad for meing someone else by giving them the cigarettes instead. But it's better to do that than completely throw them away. I was like fighting that whole battle in myself as well. Yeah, cigarettes never got me, fortunately. I want to make goofs on your dad so hard right now. He's going to get Bible camp, bro. Like like the amount of cult vibes that I see, bro. It straight up, you know, causes me discomfort. Mighty men, yeah. Need to grab a beer sometimes. Yeah, that sounds like something we used to have here in the 90s. Still very much alive. And they make like so much money, right? Like a bunch of dudes going camping and like the organizers just like bank, like make so much money. Being like, oh yeah, give us your money to come and camp, you know, for a weekend. Good for you, Melty. Seeing an interaction for what it really was. You should be very proud of that. I'm trying to be, Brother Bear. It's giving me hope. It's giving me permission to hope in myself because literally, yeah, if that same conversation happened yesterday, I would have probably been more angry, or maybe like day before yesterday. But I feel like my LSD trip really gave me some perspective that I have been lacking. And the perspective was just that for multiple hours, just walking around, thinking, instead of being influenced by the world, completely paying attention to how the inner information projecting outwards is creating the feedback loop. Thank you, Brother Duck Dad, for being proud of me too, Brother Bear. Literally going to camp to wrestle with some dudes. I don't know if they wrestle that much. It's usually just like praise and worship and then praying circles. You know, they like, I heard one of these voice notes that one of the dudes sent my dad, you know, about how they're gonna be circle praying, you know, and it's okay to circle pray until like 3 a.m. in the morning and only sleep like 2 hours if you can at least have a shower, you know, like, and I'm like I'm listening to this conversation and it just causes me like a deep sense of concern, right? Like a deep sense of like like fatherly concern, like hearing your kids, you know, talk to someone who's like, let's go beat up some hobos, and you're like, no, no, please, my child, please don't go and do that. Anything but that. But what am I gonna say? He's not gonna listen to me. Oh, probably smoking in general. Love is true. My family in Louisiana went to 10 revivals. I just don't understand. Yeah, something, something. Exactly, Joy Vive. The singing and dancing, right? Yeah, not dancing, just singing. There's usually a band up front and then it's praise and worship. True, Nan. Smoking, burning paper, and materials of any kind is no bueno for the body. This is true. I'm going to a Metallica show this next weekend. Now that sounds fun, right? Technically, it's the exact same thing. Like, that is what we're seeking. That fun you're gonna have, that's the fun my dad is seeking as well. But he's convinced himself that the only place to find that fun is in the Christian communities that he frequents. You know, like unwilling, even willing to demonize, to be like, oh yeah, those Metallica goers are a bunch of heathens, a bunch of Satanists, a bunch of punk rockers or whatever, like they're the other. Like, look at them othering right now. How dare they? Why would they do stuff like that while doing the exact same thing? The spiritual environment in tent revival churches is a big reason a lot of people go to those. Yeah, it's true. It is an environment, right? But that spiritual environment arises any place a bunch of people come together with a central intention, right? That central intention is worship God, right? I believe you cannot not worship God. I do believe this, right? If you're appreciating the trees right now, I'm looking at a little birdie, a little finch sitting on a stick. Me looking at that bird and appreciating its beauty, let me show you. Fine. Fine, fine. I'll try and show you. Can I get zoom? I cannot. Can I? Where is use? There it is. There the little Burby is. You see them? That little dude right there. So beautiful. So cutesy. Right? And me looking at that little creature is me worshiping God. At least in my mind, it is. Right? And that intention can be brought forth in multiple different places. That willingness to love this world and to love the people you're going to be spending time with. Unfortunately, religion is one way that people have access to that kind of energy, where we find ourselves in a segregated society where we don't have access to those kind of get-togethers normally, right? And it's like being sold this experience that is available to all human beings under the guise of this experience is because of religion. No, no, it's not. This experience exists. It's available to all of us. And how we show up for it is, or if we show up for it, is whether or not we get it. And that's the thing that I feel like is a little bit manipulative as well. They keep the energy super up, and since the audience is so mentally feeble, they remain appellant, yeah, and open to suggestion, very much so. It's very concerning. Like when you're like, I've been to those things. I've been to those. It's very concerning watching it. I was smoking strawberry kush at work all day yesterday. The vape pen you got, right? It's the only thing to get me through the cold and the moisture. They go for days at a time, Sam. They do. Metallica, so stuck for you, right? That sounds so fun. I hope you feel better. I thought it was catching a cold, and turned out I was getting or had COVID. Maybe test. I hope that you get better in that case, dear friend. Metallica was my first concert in 1997, literally a year before I was even existing on this plane of existence. How about that, Duck Dad? You've been rocking out to Metallica since before I existed, bruh. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel old. Maybe I'll give a test today. Back when concerts were affordable, bruh. These days, they're pretty crazy. Festivals here in South Africa are pretty affordable. You pay 20 to really at most 50 bucks for a weekend festival, right? So 3 days of music and community for like 30 to at most 50 bucks. That's like the most expensive ones that I've seen, at least for the festivals that are close. Africa Burn is a little bit more expensive though. Food is a hard fractal Zano. Good luck. I think I've missed her comment. I have been quiet, mostly everything in terms of smoking. No cigs, no weed. Now I'm slowing down coffee. Want to level out my hormones. I feel like I'm learning heavily. leaning heavily on food. I noticed that as well, Zano. I gained a lot of weight. I'm gonna give you numbers. I gained a lot of weight not smoking weed over the last month. Because that's the same thing that happened to me. It's like as soon as I stopped smoking, like food became the new crutch, right? And it was very revealing to notice that for myself as well. I'm proud of you, Zano, for noticing, for showing up. Connor, Metallica, even back then, was over $50 in 1997 money. That is, yeah, still expensive. But that's like a day, right? Like music festivals in South Africa, you get like the whole weekend for $50. I'm pretty sure a friend's mom paid for it because we couldn't afford it. That's so kind, actually. Now that we see I'm learning on food, leaning on food, my partner are doing better with it, with is. Now I feel like my vices are gone and it freaks me out. It is a new set of reality that you have to occupy, Zano. This is how we get better at it. I'm proud of you. I'm trying to get the caffeine down too. I never drink more than 1 cup a day, but now I'm moving about to half calf again. But straight up decaf, I just slowly but surely. I'm also on 1 cup a day right now. Y'all switch to indie bands. All my favorite these days are indie artists, so I can afford their shows. Yeah, that's on big brain. That's on big brain right there, Joy Vive. Damn, I guess it makes sense. They were the most popular band around that time. True. Smooches and Lovins. Lovins back to you. Caffeine is not a drug. Caffeine is not a sin. Just drink it. It reduces your risk of cancer and keeps you regular. Yeah, it is a drug though. It is a stimulant, right? I feel like weirdly enough, I want to associate caffeine with a drug because I feel like the word drug has been so demonized. And bringing caffeine into it and reminding people that this is also a drug. It's also a drug. Technically speaking, also a drug. And we partake as human beings of a plethora of different drugs. It's not about judgment. It's about moderation. It's about being able to come away from it and see the other side again. Jammy day. Heck yeah. I had a day off and I'm wearing pajamas with roses on them right now. Even more synchronicity. That is pretty trippy. Pajamas with roses. And Rosie gets to learn this. Yeah, my doctor says I gotta stop with caffeine to level up my hormones. I think it's making my PMS and cramps worse. The dehydration, and like the whole stimulation and the adenosine receptors being plugged up and the whole stimulating effect of upping your dopamine. I don't know much about PMS or the cramps that come with that, but I can fangle my mind to understand how that could probably help in the opposite direction. They do be carcinogenic. Zana, really? That's wild. Yeah, it's Poppy. It is my violently American perspective. Even my doctor told me I had to stop. I probably wouldn't. I'm just trying to find the perfect balance between too much calf and not enough. Yeah. It can make us very wired on the other side, right? I'm back at an Amazon warehouse and working 60 hours a week. So just really tired. Missed you all. We love you, Jules. I hope that you stay unscathed. Jules actually got hurt working in an Amazon warehouse once. 60 hours a week. I hope they're paying you appropriately for those 60 hours a week. That it's worth it, even if you're tired right now. We love you, Jules. Thank you for showing up the way that you do. 1 small cup of half calf a day seems okay. Take care of yourself, Gateway, please do. Joy, just saw your question. I am much better. Thanks. Some nausea here and there. Circle prey is a euphemism for jerk. Oh, glad you're doing better. Speaking of Amazon, Shanansky, I ordered that medical medium book about thyroid healing as soon as you mentioned it in Sangha, and it arrived the next day. Have you been reading it, Louisiana? How has it been treating you? I have a podcast lined up from Shan, with the medical medium as well that I need to listen to. I feel like I'm constantly throwing myself at work, at things outside my body, and yet I struggle to turn inward to dig deep. And where this addictive personality comes from, I know it's low self-worth, but I don't want to confront that. So trippy that that's the exact words that you said. I said those exact same words today, paraphrasing, right? Where I mentioned that it feels like there's many things in the outside world now vying for my attention, right? Like the whole having to help mom and pick her up and take my sister around. Like, it feels like there's not enough room for me to think about my inner self, but that is what I'm calling to do right now. Like, I want to do that inner work, and I know it's going to be hard. I know, Zano, but you are worth it, right? Do confront that part of yourself. Give yourself permission to, if you will. Don't stay up all night and pray until the sun goes up. Nope, 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 I don't. Nah, Aussie man says, yeah, nah. The funny thing is your dad added mushrooms to the mix. Like, I was thinking of that, weirdly enough, right? Like, I was not only thinking of that, but I was like, that's probably what they're doing, right? Like, how do you stay up until like 4 a.m. praying without psychedelics? I was like really thinking about that. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them are chomping mushrooms, because you can have religious experiences, right? Like, if you channel your consciousness to that fractal, you'll meet God, the God that you want to meet. Like, you can construct that reality for yourself, create such a convincing illusion, if you will. But bruh, bruh, to mix with the mighty man, it would be a similar experience. You seek at festivals, it would, bruh. It really would, but they drink instead, I believe. Louisiana, I can't tell you how happy and excited I am for you getting that book. I've been wanting to recommend that one to you. Definitely, definitely. Lots of fantastic information there. So much bless. Yeah, like your jammies. I wonder what shroom taking at Bible camp would be like. You would probably become a bigger believer. And I've said this to my dad literally, directly. Like, that's one of the things that he fears is going to happen as soon as he takes my mushrooms, is that he's going to suddenly become like me, right? And I'm like, he's going to recognize himself as God as well, and he's terrified of that reality. But I've said this to him directly, where I go, Dad, if you take mushrooms, I think you'll become more of a believer, right? In the metaphysical, in the beyond just the physical kind of like interpretation of reality. I don't think you're going to believe any less, but still, right? There's a part of him that fears, extremely so. Me reframing God worship in every group prayer. Thank God for this food that nourishes our body. Appreciation and abundance for the cooks who chose to express their divinity and nourishing us all. That's so beautiful. Like, I haven't been doing that enough, actually, Jovan. So I thank you for adding that to my mind. Usually, the way I pray for my food is acknowledgement, right? I'll look at every food item. Maybe I have broccoli and carrots and a tomato and some chicken breast, right? And then I'll look at the chicken breast and I imagine the chickening around, eating food, and I thank that chicken for giving its life, for living, so that I can continue living as well. And then I think about how the broccoli was growing, and what soil was growing, the people that picked it. And I think about the tomato in the same fashion. I think about the carrots, expanding slowly into the soil. And that's how I pray for my food. But I really like the honoring of the cooks as well. Thank you for helping me reframe to Jovan. Imagine saying you're going to burn for eternity while you were tripping balls. Exactly. Yeah, it would be a little bit harder for them to convince themselves of that. But the joke is, you can experience what hell would be like in a psychedelic experience, right? If you keep looping into that fractal, right? For instance, maybe you consider yourselves a very evil person. And then you imagine, oh, since I'm so evil, and since I've hurt all of these people, they must hate me in this way. And man, if only I didn't do that. And now I hate myself. And because of this self-hatred, I don't deserve anything good. And because I don't deserve anything good, all I'm going to get is the bad. And then you keep, your mind will generate the fractal that will be the most appropriate interpretation of all of those feelings you're feeling. And it would be experientially hell that you experience. So they would be able to convince themselves even more that hell is a real place, and all that they need to do is ask for forgiveness so that they don't go there. But I don't believe that's how it works, right? Because again, and I've said this a lot in stream, I believe forgiveness is something you do for yourself. All forgiveness. All forgiveness is something you do for yourself, right? There's nothing out there that can forgive you in the way that you're going to feel forgiven, right? Forgiveness, in and of itself, is the act of letting the world off the hook. My favorite analogy is the cactus analogy, right? uh, an event that needs to be forgiven, right? Maybe a parent, maybe an old lover, maybe a friend did something to you, said something to you that was less than kind. That would be like them handing you a cactus and you trusting them, not looking, or suddenly getting caught off guard. You hold on to this cactus and all of those thorns embed themselves into your flesh. Forgiveness is the act of letting go of it, right? It's not you grabbing onto this cactus and putting it in the other person's face and be like, you see this cactus you put in my hand? I now forgive you for putting this cactus in my hand. That's not forgiveness. You're still holding onto the cactus actively in that attempt to forgive. Forgiveness is realizing that the only way to heal, the only way to continue forward, is to let go of this behavior that is hurting the self, right? And that can be sin, that can be the way you treat people as well, right? You're holding onto that cactus, to that way of being. And the only way to be forgiven is to let go of that behavior, to let go of that thing hurting. There is no thing that's going to come and take it from you because you're the one holding onto it painstakingly. And that's where, me and my dad's belief systems differ greatly as well. He believes it's impossible for me to save myself, to forgive myself. I'm like, no. If it's impossible, bro, that sounds like a defeatist mindset, bro. Nothing's impossible. Not to me, at least. I'll keep going indefinitely, see it through if I need to. That's wild. My very first big concert was Metallica, also 97. That is a trip. I mean, the amount of synchronicities you and Duck Dad have, Joe Schmo. Like, it's uncanny at this point. My last festival was Afropunk in Brooklyn. I think it was like $350. Hell no. I'm not paying that. I can't imagine a $50 festival. Yeah. Come to South Africa, Joviv. Like that festival that I went to last, the Earth Dance, that one was $15. 15 for the whole festival. $15. I know. It's kind of bonkers. The festival I went to before that was $20, the White Rabbit one. And then the festival before that one was Twilight. That one was 600 Rand, so $30. So the last 3 festivals I went to totaled $65. 3 festivals for $65. South Africa festivals are really affordable. I always pray with the congregation. I just pray harder and more intentional than whatever is being recited. I feel like prayer has value. I do believe that, right? I feel like prayer is the act of a bunch of consciousnesses, a bunch of selves resonating at a certain frequency with a certain intent, right? But I feel, unfortunately, a bunch of people don't recognize themselves as the PowerPoint, right? They think they're praying to some sort of point of power out there. There's some sort of point of power. I'm just trying to pray it rock. I'm trying to hit that God thing with my prayer so that maybe it will now heal this something or do this something or fix this issue for me. Instead of recognizing that you are the one contributing that power by doing it, by praying in that moment, and doing so together is actually a powerful approach. I'm eating less, not smoking weed, no munchies, bless. I'm happy to hear that as well. Siobhan, me too. I've spent decades coming up with non-Christian prayers. I'm thinking so, non-Christian prayers. It's what food that matters, absolutely. They were touring with Sevendust, if I remember correctly. Maybe you saw the same one. I so appreciate the energy you bring with you. So much love. Stuff like bless the hands that prepared this food. That one I also like, actually. That was Anna. I have an old out of print Z Budapest book that I love. She would say, thank you, tuna, for dying for me. Thank you, celery, for dying for me. I agree with that one, right? I feel like the dying for me maybe is a little bit morbid. I usually thank them for living, right? Because they were alive. They spent more of their time alive than they'll ever spend dead or dying, at least, right? Because now, technically, by me eating that food, it lives again as me. And as I continue, you are what you eat, right? The universe is eating itself, after all. Ceaselessly, the Ouroboros continues. The wisdom snake. Yes, I take the responsibility within myself to bless them. I make sure that appreciation always follows, and in turn, satisfaction too. Gratitude is the best flavor you can add to your meals. We would do well to turn out a little bit more like you. Thank you. Thank you, Loazana. If only he would trust me, right? Like if my dad has been trusting me with the things that I've been telling him, he would have been exponentially more financially wealthy and he would be exponentially further along with his spiritual journey, right? And this is me talking from a place of extreme bias and egomania. Yes. But I do believe this because I have evidence at this point, right? I started telling my dad to invest in Bitcoin when it was $1,800 a Bitcoin. I begged him. I didn't ask him, I begged him. Like literally begging. Walked to his room, my mom and my dad were on the bed together, and I begged them, please, I don't have money. You do buy crypto, and they were like, no, you cannot hold on to it, so it's valueless. And I'm like, can you hold on to the internet? No, it must be valueless. Internet must have no value. Let's just switch the internet off. Surely it has no value because we cannot hold it. Crypto is the financial model of the internet, right? It's the only way to have value transfer. And he's unwilling to listen. Even to this day, he's unwilling to listen, right? Same thing with mushrooms. That for me, like I heard this beautiful quote. I can't remember who it's by, but it goes, psychedelics are to the mind what the telescope is to space. Right? That's the way I use psychedelics. It's a magnifying glass to your own internal state of being. And every single one of us have access to that internal state of being. But because of how busy things are outside and because of the amount of things we have to control for, we don't take the time to look inside like that. And the psychedelics can help. Sure, you can call it a shortcut, but it does help. And that's all I want to ever do for my dad. All I want to ever do is help him, right? I'm not trying to lead him astray. I'm trying to help, but it is not seen that way. And I feel like that's the part that I have to like remind myself of projection. And maybe he doesn't trust himself. So why would he trust me? Your dad's faith is so fragile that it can be destroyed by a mushroom. I like that one actually, John. I mean, yeah. Yeah. You know, a mushroom that his God created. That's the best part, actually. You know, his God created these mushrooms and made them grow in abundance, follow around humans, technically. You tell your father, if God is the truth, and if mushrooms are how people see the truth, then the truth of God would reveal itself to you, which is, personally, what I have found to be true. This I agree with. He believes, and this is a conversation we've had, he believes that mushrooms, die Afrikaanse woord is alwees, mushrooms openbaar jou aan die donkerte, which would translate roughly to mushrooms open you to the shadows, right? And in a weird way, that can be like the negative interpretation, because mushrooms will open yourself to yourself. You have a subconscious that is way larger than your conscious experience. And when you take mushrooms, you will dive into that subconscious self. And if you want to call that the shadows or the darkness, then that says more about you than it does about the experience you're going to have. And he's terrified of confronting his own shadow. He's absolutely batshit, you know, You think like batshit scared of it. Like he's unwilling to, completely unwilling to. Like there's a deep aversion from an egoic level, that pushes him away from that experience. So I've like used all of the fancy words, Shan. He's not going to. Holding on to the cactus metaphor is amazing, and I love you, dear Melita. Blessings to you. I appreciate you liking that analogy. I do think that's one I came up with myself. I think so. I might be wrong. Maybe I heard it somewhere else. But it's the best analogy for letting go of the pain, that we experience in this world. Forgiveness, because vengeance is like drinking the poison and expecting the other to suffer. Been watching Barry. What a great show. It is a good show. So visceral, so rough, like as a look into a certain type of reality though. Melty, the cheapest professionally organized festival I've ever been to here, sold its tickets for cheapest 1,800 Rand. So, like $90. Yeah, I wouldn't pay $90. Like, remember that Twilight Festival I went to? The room, like literally a chalet at the festival, was that much. It was like $90 a person. The whole chalet, right? So we were like sleeping like kings for that amount. Never mind just getting entrance. That was when festivals were cheap. I've been quiet and stream a lot, listening, reading, and absorbing. I love you, friends. Bye. Love you, friends. We love you too, Shell. Blessings. Creed play. Melt, your dad is threatened by you. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That is very clear, right? Because I can't blame him. When he have like the same gait, we walk the same, we sound relatively the same. Not exactly, but relatively the same. So everything he sees in me is a reflection of himself. And my state of being is so vastly different to his that it every single time he sees me brings up this state of like, am I doing it right? Right? Is he doing it better than me? Whatever it necessarily is, right? And that is intimidating, right? It's hard to accept and to come to a conclusion like that in the self. We don't want to be wrong, any of us. Opening to the shadows is actually a very good description of shrooms. Since taking them, it is literal shadow work, exactly. And I believe that's very important for us to become balanced and full individuals, right? If you believe you'll be evil if you do shadow work, you don't understand what it means to do shadow work. That's the opposite of the point, right? You integrate this part of yourself that you would consider evil, accepting that it is a part of you, and then because you accept it as a part of yourself, you actually have the tools to not continue being that way. Otherwise, it's just unconscious. You do stupid things, hurt people without actually realizing what it is you're doing. My batteries are almost dead, and I have to leave real soon. Don't count other people's money. Lead your own life. You will make decisions in your life based on your kids' wants either. Yes, I probably will. I probably will, Joy Vive, right? That's why I'm not having kids right now. I'm trying to prepare myself so that I can make decisions because I would like to believe that my kids are going to be intelligent, right? That's the thing that bothers me. It's like it's an affront to my intelligence every single time. Like him believing that I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, wouldn't you want your kids to be more intelligent than you, to know better than you, to teach you things? I would like to one day. So that's how I'm going to show up for my kids when I get them eventually. Swampy, no way. Got 7 dust. Joe, so much lovin's. I'm going to see a William Scream as a crust punk band for $20. I couldn't believe my eyes at only $20. Haven't seen a $20 show in 2 decades. Bless to you. Is that the one you're taking Melanie with? Becoming familiar with both our light and our shadow is how we gain reference and ultimately learn how to find balance. So beautifully said. It's important to acknowledge our shadows. Expressing them only allows them to build, suppressing them only allows them to build up pressure. But as Sam says, you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't stop it from eating the trash. I can't believe you remember that one, Joe. Chauvin pays attention, Sam, so much so. Thank you for sharing so beautifully as well. My mom treats me the same way, and I'm not going to change her. It makes her feel better to think I'm an empty-headed child. Yeah, exactly. Right? So if they want to eat that trash, let them enjoy. Be like, oh, nom, nom, oh, nom, it's just tastes horrible, you know. And then they project that onto us, like we're the reason. We're the reason that the trash that they're eating tastes so bad. And I'm like, have you tried not eating the trash? Have you tried that? Right. That's probably gonna be the best approach. Sam Wisdom. Brutal. Dealing with stress. Recovery session. Glad to be home with a cold beer. Love to you, Simon. It's nice seeing your name here in chat with us. I have to leave real soon, so we're gonna pull a card. This one. This is the card. Weren't we talking about balance just now? This is like one of the cards that's like really about balance. Seeing all of these layers in ourselves, finding balance within that. Red, it's red as well. Look at that red. The whole person is like outlined at the bottom in red, even. So much red. I mean, here every single person's gonna be right. Pointing out that they're doing it. Can you see that they're doing it? And that you think they look stupid doing it usually brings a stop to that behavior, Joy. I don't know in what world you live, Sam. I'm trying to be mean, but it hasn't worked with me that way, right? Like me pointing out the trash eating, right, is usually just met with like, yeah, but eat more trash, eat more trash. Actually, this one time you ate trash, so it's fine that I'm eating trash right now. My root is calling to me. Maybe some meditation is in order for you. One more time, a little scan through, and then we'll read what it means. Let's see. Usually it's bring up a fight. Exactly. Right. But this time that you and so and so and so and unwillingness to accept any responsibility. Unfortunately, we've learned these lessons. Chakras and energy centers. Chakras are the human body's subtle rainbow energy centers. The primary chakras are 7 spinning vortices of energy and light. Simple attributes credited to these chakras from base to crown include survival and grounding as root, sexual energy and emotion as sacral, willpower and self-confidence and laughter as solar plexus, love, heart intelligence and compassion as the heart chakra, creativity and communication as the throat chakra, intuition, imagination, and concentration as the third eye. And then ultimately, union, bliss, and empathy as your crown. When they're spinning in balance, they vitalize the body and support physical, emotional, and mental well-being. Pulling this card reinforces your intention to balance and strengthen your energy centers so that you may better engage your purpose and act in the world as a whole, healthy being of light. Envision your chakras as a rainbow column of spinning lights. Imagine each color as spinning bright and clear. Feel each rainbow vortex aiding you in your path towards wholeness. Hot diggity damn. We're not playing any Kalimba today because I have to get going. So I'm giving Shan a heads up. I don't know if you're already typing it, but I want to make sure we read the sand messages before we leave. I don't know what world you live in, Sam. The only one where I literally make it impossible for them to deny reality by confronting them in front of witnesses. Yeah, that one works if there's witnesses. So much right. There is a way that I can teach you. Maybe do, please. Like giving us some tips in chat, you know. If this, then that tips. My mom is coming for a couple of weeks next week, couple of days next week. Thank goodness I was dyslexing there. If it was a couple of weeks in the next few days, that would have been rough. Good luck, Joy. She isn't staying with me because she's allergic to cats. Now I'm starting to see the fractal, Joy Vive welcoming cats into her home. Like bringing garlic into the house to keep the vampires out. Thank God for that. There we go. Oh, goodness. Love is true. Yeah, we love our kitties too, right? We love our kitties so much. There our Shan message starts. I'll start maybe like by slowly reading it. Love is true. Yow! Yes, it is. Have the mostest, beautifulest day, everyone. For show, love you all so, both so, very, very superest, duperest, hugely, humongously, hulkingly, herculeanly, staggeringly, stupendously, unbelievably dearly, beloved, mind-blowingly, magnificently, sweetly serene, melt more. And all of you, oh so very, very, absolutely, positively, amazingly, unbelievably, wondrously, splendidly, spectacularly, triumphantly, unlimitedly, gloriously, gorgeously, brilliantly, glowingly, magically, magical, divine, treasured friends that accept permission to hope. Hot damn. That one felt like it was smooth, like I was surfing the oceans reading that Chan message. Thank you for washing us with your beautiful words of lovins. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. Thank you. The fact that you were here right now means that we get to share this moment, and I appreciate you for sharing it with me. I appreciate the beloved one, and I'll see you again real soon. Probably tomorrow. Love you. Goodbye, everybody.